Greetings. Today we're going to be covering SOL 8.5, which talks about angles and angle relationships in preparation for your SOL. Now, there are four types of angle relationships that you will need to know for your SOL. Complementary, supplementary, vertical, and adjacent. I'm going to focus this. Okay, a complementary angle, of course, has a C in it. And I like to think of a C as a corner angle, okay? C has corner. So two complementary angles form a corner. So you could have that angle, okay? And then you could have another angle. And they make a right angle, okay? So they add up to 90 degrees. Again, there are two angles that will add up to 90 degrees, like 30 plus 60 equals 90. Okay? They won't always be drawn like that to make a sharp L, sharp corner. Sometimes they'll give you the angle length, like 30 and 60, or two different angles. Supplementary angles make a straight line at the bottom. Okay? So we call those in my math class the awkward Y angles, because they often make that awkward Y, and that means that adds up to 180 degrees. So these add up to 180 degrees. So you could have 120 plus 60 equals 180 degrees. Okay? Vertical angles are opposite from each other, or straight across, you could say. So this is a vertical angle, and that's a vertical angle, and they are across from each other, so they are congruent, which is a fancy math term for they're equal to each other, okay? So if this is, I don't know, let's say that's 110, that's also going to be 110. Angles across from each other are equal. Now, adjacent angles, or joined angles, are angles that are right beside each other. So let's say I draw my little angles, okay, and I label A, B, C, D, and E. Angles that are right beside each other, angle ADC, okay, and CBD, because they're literally right beside each other, okay? They're BFFs. Now, EBD would be adjacent to DBC because they're right next to each other, okay? So let's go ahead and look at some angle relationships here. 30 and 60 added together equal 90 degrees. So those are complementary, okay? Okay, 20 and 160 added together is 180 degrees, so that is a supplementary angle. I'm just going to write it like that, kids, okay? 120 and 60, that's the same angle. That's 180, that's supplementary, okay? 35 and 55 is 90 degrees when you add it together, so that's a complementary angle. 45 and 45 added together is 90 degrees. So that means that those are also complementary. And 1 and 89 adds up to 90, so those are complementary as well. Well, now it's asking us to find a complementary angle when given an angle. So the way that we do that is, you know that two angles added together will equal 90. I'm taking my calculator. 90 minus 88 equals 2. So the complement to that is 2 degrees. 90 minus 20 is going to give me 70. So the complement to 20 is 70. Those two angles add up to 90 degrees. 90 minus 24 is 66. So those two angles will add up to 90 degrees. They're complementary. Likewise, 90 minus 36 is 54 degrees. 90 minus 52 will give you 38 degrees. Okay, 90 minus 10 gives you 80 degrees. 90 minus 11 gives you 79 degrees. And then 90 minus 3 gives you 87 degrees. These are complementary angles, okay? Now, supplementary angles, you're going to do the same thing. I should say 90 minus x, okay? Except for now, we're going to do 180 minus x, okay? 180 minus 88, I'm using my calculator for speed because I only have 10 minutes here. That's 92 degrees. 180 minus 120 is 60 degrees. 180 minus 65 gives you 115. 180 minus 90 gives you 90 degrees. Okay, 180 minus 135 gives you 45 degrees. And so forth and so forth. You guys can do that. It's 80 degrees. Okay. 169 degrees. And 146 degrees. Okay. So that's how you would solve that type of situation. Now, going on to the bottom, it wants us to describe the angle relationships. Okay, neither one look like a corner or an L, so we need, well, with this, so we need to add 27 plus 63, and if you add 27 and 63, that equals 90 degrees. So that's a, good golly, that's a complementary relationship, okay? Now, 60 and 30 equals 90. So that is also a complementary relationship. Okay. 60 and 120 added together equal 180, and that would make a supplementary relationship. Okay. Let's flip to the back. Now it wants us to label two angles that are adjacent to angle S. That means that they're side by side. So angle R is right beside angle S, so I could say angle R. And angle T is right beside angle S. So angle R and angle T are adjacent. Okay. Find the measure of the missing angle. Here we are given a sharp L, so we know that this is 90 degrees in total, but we know that's 53. So 90 minus 53 is going to give us our answer, and that's going to give us 37 degrees. Ms. Gershon keeps messaging me while I'm trying to do this review. Okay, now this makes that awkward Y, that straight line at the bottom, so it's supplementary. I have old eyes, so I gotta look at this. 62 degrees, okay. So 180 minus 62 is going to be the matching angle, okay. So that's going to be 118 degrees, because those are supplementary. And angle 2 is straight across from angle 1, which means they're vertical, okay, or congruent. So that means angle 2 will be 117 degrees, 117 as well. How do you find the value of x? Well, you have to set, you know these are both equal, so you solve it like an equation. I'm going to set 40 equal to 12x minus 8. And then I'm going to solve. Okay, I got to add 8 to both sides. I get 48 equals 12x. Here, I want x by itself. 12 is multiplying. So I do the opposite, I divide, and 4 is equal to x. Okay. Here, these two angles will equal 180. So here I set these equal to each other because 40, and this side's also got to equal 40. So 12 times 4 minus 8 gives me 40. But here, I'm adding the two together to get 180. So 6x plus 12x equals 180. These are like terms, so I can combine them. And 18x equals 180. And I have to divide by that 18. Okay. And x is equal to 10. Now down here at the bottom, this is a sharp L. So when I add the two angles together, they equal 90. Again, these angles equal each other because they're vertical. These angles added together give me 180. These angles added together give me 90. So 2x plus 46. What is this? Leave me alone. Plus 3x minus 6 will equal 90. So this is an equation. I'm going to combine my like terms. So my x's I can combine because these letters both have an x. That gives me 5x. Okay. And then I can combine my 46 and my negative 6 to get positive 40. Don't forget the sign in front of the number. Okay. This is a positive 3, a positive 46, a positive 2. That's a negative 6. Okay. So 46 minus 6. Okay, and that's going to equal 90. Now I want to work furthest away from my variable. So I'm going to subtract 40. Since I have positive 40, I've got to subtract it. Cancels out. I have 5x equals 90 minus 40 is 50. I'm going to divide by 5 to get rid of that 5 that's attached to the x. And x is going to be equal to 10. Now that you have done this, I want you to go on to Power Test, and you're going to take a quiz called Cuppage Gershon, Cuppage/Gershon, and it's going to be angles, okay? Cuppage-Gershon angles. And you're going to see just how well you can do on that. If you do a stellar job and get above an 80%, you're done with this unit. You can move on to later units. If you don't do so well on this, then you'll have to do some IXL, which will be on your charts, okay? Live it up.